Johnson, Superintendent Cresswell.
Mike Anderson, as well.
Rosewell Lee, Lane ESD.
Leslie Harris, Lane ESD.
Tony Skirtle, Lane ESD Superintendent.
Sherry Higgins, Lane ESD.
Sydney Kissinger, Lane ESD.
Nora Kent, Lane ESD.
Olivia Myers-Pope, Business Director.
Eric Anderson, Assistant Superintendent, Lane ESD.
Morgan Christensen, Human Resources, the ESD.
Molly Gillette, Special Education Director, Lane ESD.
Cassidy Mitchell, one of the Directors of School Improvement at Lane ESD.
Maria, you can introduce yourself to me.
Hello, I'm Marina Brisby. I'm an admin assistant here at Lane ESD.
And we'll see who we have online. I see
I'm
Vanessa.
Vanessa. I'm with Lane ESD.
Are you there, Linda?
Linda Hamilton, Lane ESD.
Hey, Linda. Anybody else?
Echo Ingram, Lane ESD.
Okay.
There are two others in the chat, but I don't think they're associated with the ESD. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. So we welcome everyone. So, would you like to read the line now?
Okay. Very small.
Sorry.
Lane Education Service District Statement of Accountability and Land Acknowledgement. Lane ESD acknowledges that the lands we call Lane County, the lands that sustain our children, our future, and our collective well-being, are the traditional ancestral home of the Kalapuya, Siuslaw, Malala, and other indigenous people who lived in Lane County since time immemorial. Native children, families, and communities bear witness to a legacy of displacement and forced relocation. As an educational institution, we are accountable for addressing the current and former silencing, erasure, and genocide of Native people in Oregon and Turtle Island. We aim to join with Indigenous people, honoring their resilience, courage, and self-determination in a purposeful pursuit of justice. Today, Indigenous people, alive, diverse, and vibrant, live in and contribute to the culture of Lane County. We are all blessed by their presence. Thank you.
Thank you. Public participation. We have someone on Zoom that wishes to speak. This is the time to do that.
All right, Amy, this is for you. They're
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Amy Fellows, and I'm here to give public comment regarding the, I think you call it the ISP group of students, and where you're looking at the Sarbu Center. And I emailed also, but I wanted to be here to say it as well, that I would like the opportunity to give, or I'm very concerned to have learned about and listened to the discussion from your March 4th board meeting regarding moving the Tier 3 life skills students from the Fox Hollow campus to potentially the Sarbu Youth Detention Center campus. I'm concerned that the only concern raised was about the optics, not the actual impact on these students attending school daily on the campus of a locked youth detention center. Why would you want to associate disabled children with criminality? We are living in a time when our federal government is removing civil rights and pushing for the reinstitutionalization of disabled children and adults, and this decision is making it easier to accomplish that. I urge you to find another location for these students, these life skills students, that is safe, welcoming, and respectful of their dignity and right to an education in the least restrictive environment. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And we are just exploring at this point. We have not made a decision.
I will have a report later, but an update.
Is there anybody else? Okay, thank you so much. Agenda review.
I think
As presented?
As presented.
Okay. Now our presentation is going to be Lane STEM.
Yeah. So it is my pleasure to introduce Maddie Ahern, Dustin Goffman, Dean McMillan, Krista Hawker, and Hannah Hustick, our Lane STEM team. Thank you. If you have a slideshow.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Maddie Ahern. I'm an administrator here in the School Improvement Department, and I have the absolute pleasure of working with our really dynamic Lane STEM team. I'm going to give very brief overarching framing to this team's work, and then pass it quickly off to them so that they can give you a highlight, just a dip into all the incredible work that they've been up to this year and plan to do next year. So we urge questions, but want to make very clear that this is just a drop in the water of the work. We promise to stay within the 10 minutes that we've been allocated, but we encourage question and interaction from the board if there's any follow-up information that you'd like on any of these projects or others. So by way of framing, we are one of 13 STEM hubs across the state. And we're kind of unique in that we do have roughly the same boundaries that we serve as a STEM hub as the ESD. The only anomaly there you'll notice, Nora, is Sayusla, but we never exclude them from our projects. They just get the benefit of being served by both Lane STEM and the Coast Hub. The hubs were established in 2015. We have a history of always hosting a hub. We always have been funded as a hub since they have started. It's been held largely at the ESD. It was an overlap time with Connected Lane County, but now we hold we backbone the hub here at Lane ESD. The structure and the overarching advisory for the hubs is held by ODE and HEC. There's a STEM investment council at the state level. We submit our plans to them and they allocate funds to us. And there's also an organization called Oregon STEM that's a nonprofit arm that the hubs work with to advocate for legislation and additional funding. Like I said, each hub submits a plan to the investment council, and our plan here at the ESD at our STEM hub centers 3 principles: STEM literacy. Our projects aim to increase the STEM literacy of the students in Lane County; rightful presence in STEM. And what we generally mean by that is that there is nothing wrong with students' ability to engage in STEM activities. It's the system and the environment that we create that creates barriers or obstacles to them seeing themselves as STEM literate or holding a STEM identity. And it's our job to create a culture of rightful presence for our students in our STEM work. That's what we aim to do. And that is a really large task, and we cannot and do not do that work alone. And so we work through collective impact. Another way to conceptualize that framework is that while those are the why, like why we're up to what we do, we also think deeply, and you will absolutely hear in the way our specialists share their work, that we work by centering these principles in the how we engage our work. So we engage that work through ecosystems. We think really strongly about like the energy we're putting out into the community, as well as what we're getting back from the community. The brilliance of our students, the brilliance of our teachers feeds our energy within our ecosystem. We do not do one-offs. As a hub, we absolutely commit to long-lasting relationships in our work and seeing our work through. And we believe that's the only way that we can achieve our whys. And then that last one that's kind of covered up by that text box says service to our districts. We really leverage the fact that our hub and our ESD are overlapping, and that we take to heart as a hub the charge of a service district, to not be like, ooh, this is shiny and new and awesome, let's go chase that funding or chase that project. But what do our districts actually need? What's working or not working within our districts, and how can we design our programs to support them? So this is the incredible team that engages this work. I'm going to pass it in a moment off to Dustin Dawson. They are our science specialists, excuse me. Krista Hocker, our math specialist. Hannah Hostick, our career connected learning specialist. And then we'll finish with Gabrielle, who should be starting this because he is the director of the STEM Hub, as well as making all the incredible computer science projects we have in the county function. So here's our lovely flower that illustrates the way that our projects, we think about the different buckets of work that we engage in. And I'll let you take it away.
Very much. Yes, I get to talk about science, which is my big passion. I totally love it. I'm only going to talk about 2 projects that I've been working on. And the first one is the Rural Science Collaborative. And the Rural Science Collaborative actually has been going on for 3 years now. Speaking of the long-lasting commitment piece. And the primary goal of that project was to bring together science teachers that are often isolated. Most of our really, really tiny districts, there's one science teacher, maybe two, 7, 12. And so they're all by themselves. So we thought, let's bring them all together, and we have been having a really good time with it. It's been awesome. So lots of community, lots of connection, lots of collaboration. We do 1 month, every month we have a meeting, 1-hour meeting, and it's really kind of a basic meeting where I share any updates that are coming down from the state or any resources that I've created or resources that have come my way. And then we spend about half of the time with them bringing in a problem of practice. I'm struggling with grading right now. I'm struggling to get my students to do their work. What are other people doing to make that happen? And then we have 3 in-person meetings. We always go to a school. We spend time doing activities and science labs and just eating together and having a really good time. And that sense of joy comes out in a big, big way. And we have really been lucky to have a lot of attendance. This year, we had 33 teachers participate over the course of the year. 11 of our 13 rural districts participated as well. So it's pretty incredible. Yeah, feel really, really.
Right, they bring their kids and their spouses
Yeah.
to these things too.
No, it's true. And so part of the community connection is that one of the teachers asked if they could bring their child because their spouse was working. And so I was like, absolutely, bring them in. And now, I think this last one we had 5 or 6 spouses and 7 or 8 kids, and the kids are participating from elementary school students to high school students that are participating in the science activities. It's warm and it's lovely. And then I use this as my lever to survey them and ask them, what do you need from me? And so then that drives my work for the next year. Creswell Elementary, we just went through the science adoption process the last 2 years. We have almost every district in the county has adopted a K-5, middle and high. And elementary is just a really hard place to teach science. Their primary focus is literacy and math, and science and social studies and health kind of gets the second tiered level, like a half an hour a day kind of thing if we're lucky. And so one of the things that we really worked on with them is to realize that we're changing the way we're doing science now. We're not asking students to memorize vocab terms and concepts and then spit it back on a test. We want them to be able to figure things out. And that leads really well to integrating with literacy. And so that's been a big push. Creswell is really jumping in. They want to be a part of it in a big way. And they've invited me in to have a lot of fun with them. They're a great team, really fun to work with. So that's science. Yeah.
Just if I may, the work in Creswell actually led to a collaboration with other regions in Portland and in Salem. So it was an inspiration for other hubs to do similar work.
Hi, everyone. I'm Krista Hawker. I'm the math specialist. I have 2 awesome projects that I want to share with you tonight. And as you're hearing about them, what I really want you thinking about is the ways that it attends to reasoning for students, making sure that they're actually thinking and making sense of things, and the ways in which that we partner with other organizations to build our strong ecosystem. So the first project is called Modernized Pre-Calculus. This is a project that includes high school teachers, higher education partners, and is funded by the Oregon Department of Education through their Mathways funding. Our goal with this is to make pre-calculus more relevant. So we have modeling tasks that are embedded in each of our clusters. We have pilot teachers across the state that are working on this, including someone from Pleasant Hill. So we're thrilled to have some local connection. And we've been presenting our work most recently at a conference with high school and higher education faculty. And our entire presentation was about the ways in which this class has positively impacted our students. We're seeing that in Lane County. And because this is partly a statewide grant, we're seeing that across the state, which is very exciting. I also had the opportunity to co-lead a grant from OSU, which was called Accelerated Literacies in K-8. And this was in response to a teacher need. In 2021, we had new math standards come out, and it included data reasoning in K-10. And what we really heard from our elementary teachers was, this is new, I need to learn about it, I need to find ways to integrate this with science, right, with social science, with health. How are we going to do this? So I partnered with some of our TOSAs from the Eugene and Springfield School District. And from the funding from OSU, we had the chance of putting together a 4-day summer institute for over 100 Lane County teachers. We had 15 of our districts represented, and the only reason we didn't get 16 is that it conflicted with summer school for one of our districts, unfortunately. But it was such a joyful, positive experience. And we've continued, because it's not a one-off, we've continued that professional learning for teachers to really build their confidence when they think about this new content that they're teaching students.
And the teacher said that it was really amazing, even behind her back.
Okay, I'm Hannah Hostick. I am the Career Connected Learning Coordinator. Hannah Everly.
I was just gonna say,
Oh my
you're not
God.
Hannah Hostick
I'm Hannah
anymore.
Everly. Okay, sorry. I'm getting married and I'm not used to it. The first project I wanted to share with you all is our Science Guest Speaker program. We partnered with a pool of PhD students at U of O who are very excited and eager to go out and speak with students. And it has been such a pleasure to see the way that these scientists engage with middle schoolers and high schoolers in small group settings with hands-on materials that they bring from their labs to share what it's like to be a scientist. So the goal is really for kids, and especially our rural students. We've solely focused on our rural schools for this project this year, to see themselves and to see what it could be like to be a scientist, because that's not a very visible career. So this year we reached 3 school districts, Crestwell, Fern Ridge, and Sayuslaw, and both the middle school and high school in Sayuslaw and Fern Ridge, and all the teachers want us back next year, and we're very excited to keep this going and expanding. And there's also some pretty sweet quotes from students, just really realizing how science is related to their daily lives and how it's a possibility that they could go do that after high school. So some pictures there as well. And then the other project I wanted to share is our summer externships. And this is a teacher-focused project that's a very in-depth professional development opportunity for teachers, mostly CTE teachers, but also math teachers and special education teachers, to partner with a business, a local business partner, and really understand what it's like to work in that field and bring back their new knowledge to their classroom, build that into their curriculum, and help prepare their students for careers in those fields. And some of these logos are just some of the community partners we're working with for this summer's programs. We have Positive Community Kitchen, Joe's Garage, Falling Sky, Peace Health is a big partner. This project is really ranging across all the career areas, and yeah, it's a very valuable one. So excited to work on that.
Thank you. All right. So in computer science, as you know, there are classes in computer science here and there, but there's a bill in the Senate that will soon make it compulsory for us to be teaching computer science to everybody, every student, K-12. So we're trying to prepare for this, and it's timely. This is part of the literacy at this point. And so speaking of ecosystems that Maddie was mentioning, we detected that with the help of STEM Hub, actually, there was a rural science teacher in Mackenzie, Corey Culp, who actually is an award-winning technology teacher, who developed a program in Mackenzie School where high school students go to elementary school settings and they teach 4 hours a year of computer science, of coding. And this was being hugely successful. It took years to develop it. But it's so beautiful, we say, hey, we need to do something with this. So last year, we arranged with Mapleton, which is very similar to Mackenzie in many ways. And Sue Wilson, the superintendent, said, great. So we identified a teacher there who found the high school kids in Mapleton to actually replicate. And we successfully now have in 2 of the grade bands, 4th and 5th, we have computer science going in Mapleton. And just today, I was talking to Fern Ridge and Junction City, who are really next year to jump in the wagon and actually start moving. So step by step, we're going to get computer science into every grade, every district. And this actually comes out of discussions that we have in our computer science steering committee. We actually gather all of the teachers in Lane County in computer science. And after that, we form a committee. We have the privilege of having Joanna Good, who's an expert in equity in computer science out of U of O. She's part of our steering committee. So our decisions really are made, how we allocate money or what strategies we apply are really advised by people from U of O, Lane Community College, and Corey Cobb, the McKinsey teacher, is also in the steering committee. And I also would like to mention, again, speaking of ecosystems, right, that we try to work with our community. So we do many things, but this is one example that really fills us with pride, and it's the Escuelita de Verano. That's the summer school that the migrant education program puts every summer for kids that are not only migrant families, but Latinx in general. And so we've, our STEM Hub has designed all the lessons for the math and science classes for all its K-8, right? Yes. And actually we coach for them and we buy all the materials. And this is really neat because they make it. It's their Escuelita de Verano. And the funding is mostly MEP, but we add something else. And there's many approaches where there's something going, but we identify a missing part, and then we can go there and find that and make it go the next level. And the same happens with the STEM early learning, which we are doing in collaboration with the Early Learning Hub, which is located in Lane Community College. And we are offering trainings for early learning providers on hands-on science, on math, and outdoor education. And do we have anything else? Yes.
How we do?
You did great. Very exciting too. Questions, comments?
Well, it's always it's always a danger when I ask this, but I guess I would just say, imagining that there's not constant insecurity in our funding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have a dream or a vision you'd like to bring about in your work? Some big thing, even if you just say it out loud, maybe somebody will hear it and get an idea and find a way to make it happen.
I think for me, that the integration at elementary, I think is the one that I'm really excited about right now. And some of the models we're using don't actually require a lot of extra funding because we're going to go into their school during their professional development time and work with them individually. So it doesn't require a lot of extra funding, but I'm just super excited about that to get more social studies and science.
Yeah, I was finding it strange to hear you say the elementary in science is hard to do. Because I was like, kids are like natural experimenters.
Oh, no, 100%. It's very effective when you do. It's just that there is so much pressure to work on literacy. Of course, they found that if you embed science when you teach literacy, well, literacy is going to go up because they're more interested in science. They help teachers do it and they'll expect that they would do it or demand on them that they would do it. Yeah. And all support, and that's what Dustin is providing.
Yeah, the blank check came with no strings attached. I think we would just fully fund our districts, and then the amount of support and projects we have would be able to be taken up by all of those school districts. So yeah, no, I think our funding, actually, just a combination to Gabriel, he just submitted our plan for next biennium, and we were the only hub of those 13 hubs that received feedback back that was, if we funded you based off of your score in the rubric, we would triple your allocation.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was just overwhelmingly positive feedback for that. And I know you'll humbly say that it was a team effort, but Gabrielle absolutely takes huge credit for getting that in and having it reflect this work and our vision for STEM education in the county.
It's a great service. This is wonderful for kids. Thank you so much for your hard work. Any other comments?
I'd like to comment just a moment on the good work that you're doing in partnership with us at Crest Lane Elementary. And that has been really inspirational for our teachers to be able to bring science into the classroom. And our principal and teachers did present to the board and let us know, and you were with them, and I appreciate that. This is probably our third go around with science adoption with you, and you're great. But she wasn't. She hasn't come in and boasted about the fact that there's this inspiration that's going on in other districts over the work that you're doing there. So Really happy to hear that, and we'll pass that on to the board.
Excellent, appreciate it. Yeah, and that's, I mean, quite honestly, it's not just a Lane County thing or in Oregon. It is a nationwide. I've talked to people in Georgia and they're like, send us what you do because we want to see good models. So we're hoping to highlight Creswell as a real change maker.
Model.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you for the new.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Melissa.
Okay. The financial reports, are there a motion to accept the financial report?
Consent agenda. Oh, yeah, consent agenda.
Oh, I thought we had, okay, is there a motion for the consent agenda approval?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now financial report. Thanks for keeping me on my toes. A motion to approve,
I move we accept the financial report.
second,
I'll second.
okay. Questions or comments for all of you? Doing a good job.
Yeah.
Cindy should.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, okay.
I'm sorry, Chair, I did have a question from the
You're
HR
too late
report.
now. Go ahead.
Well, and Molly's gone, so I don't know if it's appropriate, Morgan, to answer the question I had about the life skills teachers or.
Yeah, I can just say that, you know, the survey that we put out to, you know, with an exit survey, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of data from there yet that I can share. I do know that earlier this year, we took a proactive approach asking staff if what their intents were for coming back or not. And we did that to help with our budget. And as a result, there were a handful of folks that intended to resign at the end of this year. So that information I'm able to confirm, but the reasons for each and every one of them would vary. And I don't have the survey that fortunately at the beginning of the year that I was pumped to get information to share with the board. Here are some trends that doesn't give me too much of that insight. So that's what I can share at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. One thing that does, it's like a bittersweet, I would say, to some of these resignations. We don't like seeing people resign. However, we know that people resign for various reasons. In contrast of like our budgets that we're facing, as we saw tonight, Livia's done an excellent job at trying to not only forecast what we might need for the upcoming years. We're really trying to reduce any types of layoffs or cuts that could occur. And so with every person either having resigning, that also allows us to kind of balance things. And so as you know, Leslie is often seen in these reports, hey, looks like you've hired some and then now we're still needing some. So it's just constant back and forth. And so, but I don't have any trends to share at this time with the board, but hope to get at least some feedback maybe at the end of the year. Feedback.
Anything else? And this is Teacher Appreciation Week. Whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, and whereas teachers encounter students of widely, differently backgrounds, and whereas our country's future depends upon providing quality education to all students, and whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community services. And whereas our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lane Educational Service District Board of Directors proclaim May 5 through 9, 2025 to be Teacher Appreciation Week. And be it further resolved, the Lane Educational Service District Board of Directors strongly encourages all members of our community to join in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and devotion to their work. Thank you.
Just a comment that, you know, here at Lane ESD, we have outstanding teachers doing really difficult, critical, impactful work. We also have working with them teams that expand the notion of teachers during this week to all of our licensed professionals. The teachers work in collaboration the speech language pathologists, behavior consultants, school psychs, and all the others who support the classrooms. It takes a lot to support the classrooms. Our folks do a really good job in teams. So, thanks for proclaiming this as I think you're about to vote, I believe, to do so.
Oh, a move to adopt the proclamation as written and read.
Okay, second?
I second it.
Okay, comments? So I assume we have some really nice things planned?
So there have been some things that have happened. I believe there's a little celebration that happened in here Monday morning for the licensed folks on campus, and then really cool little buckets with little treats in them that the folks in special education are sending out to all of our staff that are in the varying parts of the county. So yeah, things are getting out. So, yeah.
And the month of May is
Vote on that.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The month of May is the Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Just want to say that that is taking place this month. Yeah, you want to go ahead?
I'll just, I can read the,
Yeah,
just read the,
Yeah.
the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay. The movement to, whereas Asian and Pacific Americans have lived and worked in Oregon for more than 200 years, contributing to the state's rich history, economy, and culture. And whereas Asian and Pacific Americans have helped advance our community's prosperity through their contributions to all fields of education, business, the arts, economic development, science, and technology. And whereas Asian and Pacific American history is marked by the struggle for freedom, equality, and justice prevailing over the adversity of exclusion, persecution, incarceration, and disparities. And whereas the vibrant history of diverse cultures of Oregon's Asian and Pacific Americans are here to be honored as a central part of our state's story and shared across all Oregon communities. And whereas the month of May is nationally recognized as a time to celebrate contributions of Asian and Pacific Americans to our society and collective history, therefore, the Lane Education Service District Board hereby proclaims May 20, 2025 to be Asian Pacific American Heritage Month in Lane Education Service.
I move to adopt the proclamation.
second. Comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you so much.
I move that we accept the summary of Superintendent Skirta's evaluation.
Second.
I second it.
Okay. Discussion, questions?
Nice write-up. It was a very positive evaluation. Not that I'm surprised, because I was there when we talked about it, but glad to have you. Thank you, Superintendent, for sticking with us.
Well, thanks for allowing me to appreciate it.
Well, as chair, I've enjoyed working with you, and you're very organized most of the time.
We had some things to catch up on today. Yeah.
Well, it's been kind of a different year for you specifically, so you're doing a great job. And how many years does this make?
This is year number 7, I believe.
You're going into, or you've just been?
I'm not sure. It's been since 2017. It's definitely.
You're having so much fun, you just lose track of time.
I feel like we're doing pretty good. I mean, I'll track record superintendent is a lot longer than that mostly, so. That's good.
2 to 3 years.
What?
2 to 3 years.
Kidding.
1 to
It's
2.
8 years.
Is it 1 to 2 now?
2 is about the average now.
Oh my God.
Yikes.
Are they wearing it? We're wearing you out?
Well, no,
How long have you been in Crestwell, Mike?
this is year 6.
Oh,
See?
okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, well, congratulations. Good job.
Thank you for having me. Nice to work.
All right, I move to approve do I need to do one grant at a time or? can I do them
I think you just have the one grant. It's
Oh,
one
just- oh,
long
yeah, it's
grant,
just one-
yeah.
oh,
I just
sorry,
put
it's
in here
all-
really long,
all?
so.
Right, okay, move to approve the high school level 2 grant,
Yeah.
recovery high school grant.
Second? They are second?
I second it.
Okay.
Provide a
You
little
wanna
bit.
talk about it?
Yeah, let me provide a little information before we go to accept. So this grant was actually submitted right at the end of April. It's something that I brought up, I think, a couple months ago that we've been looking toward this in the county. And we have kind of the vote to go forward from all 16 of our superintendents on the superintendent council. We've been kind of talking about this for a few years. And the idea for our liaisons who may not have heard all the detail, or those online and haven't heard all of it. Recovery school is for students who are recovering from substance abuse disorder. And it's a school where they actually have to volunteer to go. They cannot be compelled to go. There's no other way to coerce them to go. They have to be committed to their recovery. And the school is designed around the ability for them to get a 4-year diploma, as well as receive the support they need on the way there. And there are 3 schools currently operating in Oregon. Harmony Academy, former board member of Lane ESD, Sharon Martin is the principal there.
Where's that?
It's up in Lake Oswego. It started as a charter school. It's now a grant-funded school through the Oregon Department of Education. Rivercrest Academy is in its 2nd year of being operated by the Multnomah School District. And Discovery Academy just started in Willamette ESD's region about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
That's it.
That's it. So we're looking to kind of replicate those schools here in Lane County. This grant would fund most of the school. One thing about this grant is that the money doesn't go as far as the requirements actually asked for. We are partnered with the Friends of Lane County Recovery Schools that have been pursuing this for a couple of years. They've got a board, a nonprofit, and are willing to step in and support some things where there are gaps. We are looking at a facility. We still don't have anything in writing, but if we've got a verbal that there would be a facility where the utilities might be all we would have to.
Wow, that'd be great.
If that comes through, that's what we put in the grant, and we'll follow up. We also have, as I mentioned, I think last time we were in the process of hiring a planning administrator for this school through a grant that came from Pacific Sources CCO, from the Lane County Community Health Council. And so, you know, we already have a person in there, Kim Partial, who is playing that role and trying to do all the background work for this. If we're funded, the school is supposed to start in the fall of 2025-26, which is why we pursued the grant to get the planning administrator, so we will be going forward. We anticipate that this would start with maybe 15 students and have the ability to expand in the next couple of years, maybe up to 50 or 60 students. Students would be accepted from any district, and it's not, again, don't have to have permission from the districts, just have to be willing to participate. We find out from ODE whether or not we got the grant probably sometime in, I'm going to say it's already May. It might not be till June. It might be a little later. We're also, I think, in the governor's budget, there was money for 1 recovery high school in the state. The legislation that passed in the last session said that they could fund up to 3. So it's kind of segueing into my legislative report. There's a movement to try and get, I think, $6 more in this bill that would go towards recovery schools that would fund 3 of them instead of just 1. But it's likely that just 1 might be awarded in this grant cycle. We know that the LeGrand School District has applied. We know that Northwest Regional ESD has applied, and Southern Oregon ESD has applied. And thing is, you know, we're competing, but I don't know that we really want to be competing, because if we look across the state, this is something that Oregon, the legislature set up and say we want 9 recovery high schools in the state. So if we don't get it, we'll be cheering on our partners who get it, and we'll have a plan in place for the next cycle to go back in. But we're hoping for this.
Exciting for kids.
Yeah. So are you still looking for a location?
We don't have anything inked. We have something in pencil right now. So
Okay.
if you hear of anything, let us know if we have a need for a map.
I just wanted, appreciate the partners and the Friends of Lane County and Recovery Schools, Lane County itself, Civic Source Trillium, and Peace Health, who is at least verbally offering a part of one of the facilities. So that's very exciting. So kudos to all the folks coming together to make this happen, and let's hope the funding is expanded so all the kids that need it can start sooner.
And all your work for relatives, because I will talk on this.
I mean, with regards to location, I was thinking about how Wellsprings, the charter school, this is a charter school now, isn't it? Anyway, it was a private school, now a charter school. And that's in a That's in the Mennonite church. Is that a possibility that you could?
Harmony's operating in an old church. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at it and explore, but I think we need a backup plan, so I can check.
Yeah. Just kind of tend to work well for small schools.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, okay. Talk about,
All right.
come on, Salem?
Well, no, then we have a,
I'm the mover today. Move to adopt policy section C.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, no, you can't adopt all of them. Just delete some, adopt some, and.
Okay,
Well,
move
what
to,
changes for,
move to delete policies listed in our agenda under item 8G and adopt the recommended changes on policies listed under that subsection as attached. That's my movement.
Motion.
we
That's
we
my
went through
motion.
this one in about an hour, which is really amazing for all these policies, so. It's pretty well laid out. Yeah. Second? Okay, further discussion?
I'll just add that, the policy committee, Sherry, Leslie, and Rose have gone through this. We went through it, and last time when it came before you, there were, kind of the recommended changes from OSBA. So we had it as a first reading, took it back to the committee, and then, I think we had a couple queries to Oregon School Boards Association and brought it back. So what you have attached in here, and I think you also have a packet of hard copy on your desk, that is the recommendation for the final versions of those policies.
And just for our new members, and advisors, we took advantage of OSBA services, so they did a full review and then recommended rewrite, which we had a separate ad hoc subcommittee to review, which I will, with the chair.
We're not a real committee.
Okay, we're a real committee. Well, you know, we started a committee to do this.
And you all know how much fun policies are, right?
Yes, and we thoroughly wrestled these and reviewed and asked questions and did our best to see if there's any inconsistencies or commas missing or anything that wasn't clear or timelines and asked, you know. So I think that it was money well spent. I think it's
We're
helping
getting
us.
rid of a lot of policies.
Yeah, they're deleting a lot. It's a good slog to
Many
do.
pages.
We're doing a section a month, and D is for June.
Oh, we have A, B. And what about
We already-
B?
We did them already.
We already did it. So what should we do with all of this? Paper.
You
So,
can use it for your word then.
You could keep it and look things up.
It's also online.
so I guess that would be my question to the board is, I've been making copies, and I think we damaged the copier tonight. That was what the other guys did. If anybody,
You're using it?
so we've had, maybe I haven't been as skilled as going up on putting it on the screen and looking at them, but if you want the next month's policies to look at hard copy, we can do that. If you'd rather have them just online and not have a hard copy, let me. Otherwise, the default's been to do the hard copy.
I mean, I like the hard copy for the policy committee, but I don't need it for the board.
Okay.
Personal.
Okay.
Is the board pretty satisfied with the method we're using to go through these policies? Do you feel like it's pretty efficient?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're still
we'll go on.
Yeah.
I see ACR.
Okay, so D, next one.
I think you have
Need
to
a
vote.
vote.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, okay. Motion passes.
Okay, we go next to the legislative report. Now it's what's the same. I'm going to start off, and I just had a note from one of our board members. So Nora, you've been following a bill. You want to jump in on it?
Yeah, I've been following this a little bit, this House Bill 3365, and I would have sent you all I just got another update this morning when I was getting ready to come over here, but House Bill 3365 was originated in the House, and our beloved Lisa Fragula was the chief sponsor, and anyway, it's the climate, it's the climate, wait a minute, I gotta get it right, I don't wanna say it wrong. It's in this email, climate education bill. And the idea, and then you go here to the bill, actually a little summary. So what it's doing is ensuring that academic content standards for core subjects include sufficient instruction on the causes and effect of climate change and strategies responding to such causes and effects. So it's an integrated curriculum where it's going to be used, the idea of causes and, climate change will be included in math, included in science, included in reading, et cetera, et cetera. And they're also, what my understanding when I heard a little more of it, was it's gonna help, the kids, and they also in the CTE, to look at jobs that have to do with climate change. So, and so what's going on is the letter I got today, see, I already submitted some testimony when it was in the House. Well, it's in the Senate right now with the Senate Education Committee. And we're being asked to, I was being asked, but I'm gonna ask all of you too. There's, and I can send you all the links with your permission. It's not a big deal, this submitting testimony. It's pretty simple. I can send you the link. And they're taking testimony tomorrow morning. So if you could get it off like tonight or tomorrow morning.
Basically, it's just counting.
And then yeah. So
yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, I'll send you each a link at your
yeah.
email. So it doesn't take too much work, and it's pretty important bill.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
What I heard from our last legislative committee meeting in OAESD was kind of that there's not going to be things moving that rapidly when it comes to our priority school bills. Most of those are tied to some funding. And the main thing right now is funding for special education, which either is in the form of kind of removing the 11% cap that districts have on getting funded for students with special needs, or increasing the funding for the high-cost disability reimbursement, or potentially the contracts, one that we hold with Regional Inclusive Services or the EIECSE, Early Intervention for Childhood Special Education. But what we heard is, don't hold your breath for things to happen overnight, because the legislature is waiting for the May 14th economic revenue forecast. If that's up, does that mean we're more likely to see some of these bills passed? Keep my fingers crossed. If it's down, I think that's really going to be difficult from what we're hearing for those bills. So I think that's next Wednesday, 14th, or sometime around the middle of next week.
By the way, this so far says there's minimal fiscal impact on that bill. So,
That always helps.
They can get going on that one.
The other thing, though, I just had an email at 5:25 from Morgan Allen. I don't know whether you've seen this, but apparently the governor signed the Senate bill for 849 in the law, which is a slight reduction of first costs. So that's a good thing for both those of you, if you know more about it.
Yeah, and we were expecting that to happen. Essentially, I think that there were some funds available to basically reduce the upcoming PERS rate increases on July 1. There was some really quick movement at the PERS level, at legislative level, and then with the governor to make sure that that bill was signed into law. And the first staff have said they will be able to provide updated rates for July 1, which is great, because all government entities are seeing really big increases in the PERS employer contribution rates. And so we expect that to decrease the rate by 1.6%. And the rate is a bit different for every entity and different for each of the pension plans, but it's close to a 30% employer contribution rate. So anything will help when it comes to that big piece of our benefit package for staff.
Thanks. So that's kind of what's happened in Salem. I think we'll hear more hopefully next week or the week after. But, this is not atypical for the legislature not come out. State school fund set. Yeah, we're early still. Then I can move into the superintendent's report. So the first thing I'll address in the superintendent's report is an update on kind of the discussions and potential direction of where we're going with the intensive service program. Just as a review, the intensive service program has been operating for years on Fox Hollow campus in the G4J school district. And well, a couple months ago, we heard that the 4J district was going to take back the students that they had given to the program and were expanding operations on that campus so that there wasn't a lot of space to begin with, and there was even less space. And so it's not a viable space for us to use. At this point, 4J is going to be running their program, and we need to look for other space to operate our intensive service program. We're not talking a ton of students here. We're talking about somewhere between maybe 4 and 8 students that require intensive services above and beyond what students in other life skills classrooms receive. They need some space and they need safe space. So these students are tend to elope and are sometimes a danger to themselves, and we want to make sure that we have a safe spot. Hence, a couple months ago, as we started looking for safe spots for students, one of the spaces, one of the facilities that we were exploring was the detention pod, one of the detention pods on the Surville campus. I think from the initial reaction of the board at that time, it's not uncommon that we were getting that reaction from folks, but we still wanted to explore it because we didn't have a lot of options. That was one of the options we were exploring. And we continued to look at that direction. One of the keys to us looking there was not that we were looking to stick kids in detention, but we were looking to find a space that would serve the needs of the students. And the county, I think, is moving towards more of a youth service approach than a detention approach. I don't know that it's there yet, but I know that's the vision. We talked to Greg Rickoff a couple of times about that. Given a lot of some of what you heard in public comment tonight, and some of the other discussions we've had with our special ed team, as well as engaging with special ed directors from districts and superintendents from districts where the students are coming from, it's looking less and less likely that the Surville campus will be a spot that we will land. I wouldn't rule it out, 100% ever. If we are in need of space and there's a youth services kind of vision or approach that takes away the stigma of sticking kids in the detention spot, we'd explore. But right now, we've looked more to our own facility, and that's our campus at the Westmoreland site. And it doesn't come without some issues in terms of needing some minor improvements there. I think we can handle that. But there are some students that would take more major, I guess, retrofitting of the building. So it's possible we won't be able to serve as many students there as we would on the Surville campus. And there's some other possibilities that wouldn't happen within this next year. So I think the best bet for us moving forward is to really explore our Westmoreland campus, see how that works for next year, but then look beyond to see if there's even other space. Nora, you mentioned, the Wellsprings spot. I think there are some districts that have some school facilities that may be vacant in the next, with enrollment drops in the next 3 to 5 years. And so it's something we'll continue to look at. We think we can make the Westmoreland campus work for the majority of the students next year and work in a positive way. And then this is something we're going to keep working on down the road. As far as having the Surville campus available, I think it's available to us, but it's something that we're pivoting and looking in the direction. That's the latest. I don't have anything final. I just know that those are the discussions as of last week with the districts, and even earlier this morning with our team, looking to see what we got to do this morning. And we have to move pretty quickly. It's May 6th. School starts in September, but we think the changes at the Westmoreland campus are doable over the summer. And part of it has to do with our transition program We won't need as many transition classrooms on that campus, so what's happened is some space is freed up so that these students will actually have their own classroom space. And of course, like every year, things ebb and flow with the orders we get from our districts. For the time being.
How many students do you think are talking about?
Well, we were talking between 4 and 8, and I think we were looking at maybe 4 to 5 on this campus. And still exploring how we can serve districts. Students. It's not,
Okay, Tony?
I was one of the ones who was most concerned, so I just want to thank you for addressing this and for looking. I mean, I think the idea of Cerebro turning into a place that's not identified as detention is a great one, but it's not there now, and I don't really want us to be sort of trying to argue that we're making it that.
Yeah, I think to become that, it does have to change, but I'm not going to take sole credit. This is again a team effort, and when I say team, it's our team here. Molly was here earlier. She's been playing a big role in that, Annie Galaxy, and also the team with our special ed directors. Because there's it's been a lot of looking to see what we can do and how we make it work.
Well, thank you.
I just wish there was an easy answer that easier, but we're getting there. Okay.
Anything else?
Yes. No, I don't have anything else on that unless there are other questions about the XP book. I do have a couple other things. One I've got on bargaining. So our bargaining team that met with LCEA leadership over the course of, I think, 3 meetings, maybe. I want to give credit, Morgan and Eric and Olivia. There's our team right there. They were the negotiators. We had backup with Sherry Higgins, our board chair, and I was way in the background, which I think is what helped this thing. So in terms of the bargaining that took place, there's a tentative agreement on, I think, several items, primarily finances. There's a tentative agreement that there would be a cost of living advance in the 2025-26 year of 3.5%, and the following year of 4% for employees. It's also an insurance increase that coincides with the PERS, not the PERS, the OEB, the Oregon Educated Benefit Board increase of about 3.5%. I think it's about 3.4%. We did a survey, and we, meaning our team and LCEA, did a survey and discovered that if we have the people opting out of insurance that said they would opt out of insurance, we actually make, the district makes money and the folks opting out make money. So there's an increase of an opt-out stipend from $300 a month to $500 a month. That seems to be incentive to move it now. So it's actually a money maker for the district and employees.
Win-win.
And there was a language issue that for employee evaluations that it could be appealed to the superintendent or designee, but would not go all the way to the board. Conversation around, administrators are licensed to actually evaluate licensed employees, and the board's not. And so that was an agreement. So that we have a tentative agreement on LCEA, I believe, and our team sent a joint communication out today, or it's going to go out really soon. Oh, okay. And then the LCEA folks will vote on, they'll vote to ratify or not hopefully to ratify. If they do, it will come back to you for a vote.
Okay.
That's
exciting.
That's right. I think there's a good trust built up between.
Yeah. Anything else?
Anything? No.
Okay, again, June, section D, policy.
Yeah, so again, I gave that to you a hard copy, and so we got those. The only thing I'll say is that I don't know if it matches up or not, but one of the things that the committee discovered, and I think Leslie caught it, is that under facility use, I don't know if it's even listed here because OSBA pulled it. It was currently on our board is policy DFD. I think it is. The DFD says that we would not allow, I think, religious use of our facility. And I think Leslie caught that there was a Supreme Court ruling
Several of them.
Several.
Yeah, thank you.
And so, I emailed our, person who's handling this at OSBA, and the response was, put this on hold, and they're gonna do further review. I think so. All of D except for DFD will not be considered. It's on hold.
Okay.
There may be some amendments to that. So let's see this.
D is our director's meeting calendar. This is proposed.
This is proposed. Now, I want to make a comment because as we did our policy review, it was noted that you have to have a July meeting. And we have not always had a July meeting. And I know there are boards in the state that don't have meetings in July, but we asked again, do we really have to have a July meeting? And they said, yes, we have to have a July meeting. So this came from the committee, but the proposal was that to have our July, we'd have an organizational meeting toward the end of July. We usually meet the first Tuesday of the month. This time we meet last Tuesday of the month and skip the August meeting. And then there wouldn't be as big a gap between July and September as if we held it early in July. And that was the recommendations. That's why you see July 29th on there as a date that stands out differently. And then the second Tuesday of the month, September, is the 9th. When Labor Day falls on the Monday before our meeting, we typically push back and meet the week. School usually starts that same week. Other than that, the calendar shows first Tuesdays of each.
Did you decide that all those holidays were not ones that were gonna cause conflict?
I looked at the holidays and they didn't look like they did.
Okay.
Do you want us to adopt this or?
It's a first reading.
Okay.
So, that would give you time to look and compare anything else that might come up and then take action.
Our board self-evaluation is going to be a May discussion. We wanted to have F for the election session.
So
season.
going back to the board self-evaluation. So has anybody yet received the actual self-evaluation?
I received a survey which I answered.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
I did too.
Okay.
There should be a summary of it.
That's what, so I'll get that in
I
preparation.
think that at one point Julie said that there were a number of people who had not completed it.
And then you completed yours.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I did get the superintendent done, but I mean, there were fewer people who had done the board than the
Well,
superintendent, so it may be that was what needs to be looked at and to light a fire under us to.
Well, what do we need to do for you?
Well, so that I can't find the survey or I would fill it out.
I think what I'll have to do is probably resend it. Well, if I won't see your name, I'll just resend it to everybody. If you did it, you did it. And if you didn't, you can turn.
So the problem with the survey, when I answered it, it was asking me questions that I did not know the answer to because it was regarding the behavior of other board members. So I didn't know if you had done these things. And
of course we know.
And if you didn't, then we'll figure out how can we get them done, So yeah, that was my comment when I sent it back was, well, this is my best guess, but these are actually, I would think it maybe kind of doing it more as a survey, did you do these things, and then, then we could just look at the results and
As a discussion.
yeah, have a discussion and be
Just
like,
take the survey and
Yeah.
just have a discussion.
We'll send that early enough that people can have it.
Yeah. Does that sound all right?
yeah, and I'm not looking to gotcha anybody. I mean, I
Oh,
think
no,
some of these
no.
things are new and we
Right.
have a history of doing them. It's kind of more like this way of doing things work because it's a different way than we've done before. We used the LBL model a few years ago and then modified it. Maybe we do it and we don't like that way of doing it, but it's just good to have a discussion about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
So I just wanted to clarify, if you didn't do the things or whatever, that's fine. Don't, you can go and do them now, but
Okay, so May board meeting, we'll have to take a survey and just go through it. So, go from there.
Okay.
Okay, did you want to talk about F?
Just wanted to have this on the agenda as we have a special election coming up at the end of this month, and there's already ballots that are out. And so just a reminder of our policy KBE. And then just in here that we've got, the board is different from public employees, but there's also the last paragraph, just as public employees use public funds or having that our staff advocate when we're
You guys remember that we talked about the ESD board endorsing candidates, did we?
Right.
And did we not, I remember that we said we were not going to say that we were a leading ESD board member. Am I wrong, or what did we say?
We never agreed.
We never
We had some
agreed?
holdouts, but, we discussed it, but there wasn't a formal board agreement. We discussed it.
Put this on July work session?
That's how I recall it too, Rose.
Yeah. Back and forth and.
We were back and forth.
So we're having a conference?
Yes.
You want to talk about it?
Well, I think just to make sure everybody, and I'm sorry for the way this looks on the agenda, it's not as clean as the poster or the flyer. But tomorrow morning, there's a superintendent council meeting at 9, and so I'll be headed there early. And then the governance council meets tomorrow afternoon from 4:30 to 6. Immediately following that's the reception. So those of you who are going, I think Rose needs to be there at 4:30 to be. But the others can arrive a little later throughout the afternoon. I think the rooms are, well, I know they're reserved. And so we just need to check in. I think the check-in time is like 3 o'clock.
It's 4 o'clock.
Oh, 4 o'clock. Thank you, Marie.
Do you know, how late the registration desk is open? I realize that's a very, specific thing, and I'd be surprised if you know, but it's one.
I don't know. I don't know.
They're always open next morning.
I know, but it's always.
Yeah, no,
I'm
yeah.
excited.
Yeah, no.
And then May 8th, just to know that the actual conference itself starts with breakfast at 7:45 with the first general session at 8:30. And then this is different this year in that the banquet is at lunchtime on Thursdays and not in the evening Thursday. That was a cost cutting measure.
Yeah.
And then the president's reception at night, and then the next day, general session from 8:30 to 11:30.
So kind of the same time frame it's always been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time we were talking about getting the electronic version of the schedule. And I had done that and it didn't have very much information on it. And I went and looked at it today. It's been updated. So if you were using that, just go to the site and it automatically updates and actually puts some information in.
I think that's like schedule, that's called schedule.
Yeah, and I never could remember that. I had to hunt for it.
Okay. Well, thanks for that.
Okay, we have some staff printed reports.
Yep.
The agenda planning is the Wednesday before our Tuesday meeting, and that's also when the policy committee meets. And board members can do a written report for the meeting also. Mike Anderson, what's going on in Bristol?
Well, really, Mike is the guy to ask, right?
Mike Johnson, what's going on in Bristol? You know, which of you to ask first?
I can start if you want. I just have a couple of things that I've been on a vacation a lot here lately, but the two things that are really, what's the term I'm proud of or what's going on there is I've been to a couple girls' flag football games.
That's right, you said that you were
And
doing that.
I haven't been over to the baseball games, but my front yard's not very far away and I can hear them just screaming. People are taking advantage of the kids are taking advantage of the new fields and they just love them. And it's really super. And the other thing I'm really excited about is, I talked to the high school principal the other day and they've got three aviation classes lined up and they're getting ready to start the one that by the time you get done, the kids will be able to pass the written test from what I'm told. And I'm on the airport board. And I think that the way the pilots are talking to me, I think we can get those kids pilot's license without a big expense to anybody. I think those guys donate their time and I like I say, I'm waiting to be the first one to hand out a diploma and pilot's license at the same time. That really excites me.
Yeah.
But that might say what's going on because.
So is this like a first for districts in Oregon, you guys? I mean,
Pardon?
is there another district that's doing this?
Yeah, I went over to Sisters
Okay.
several years ago, is where I got They had,
So they're doing the pilot's license?
yeah, they started out 4 kids, and when I was there 2 years later, there was 26 kids in the class. And for graduation, the kids got to fly to someplace in Oregon, land, have lunch, and then fly back home. And that was the graduation party, and I thought that was really cool. And we'll see what happens, but
You've worked really hard on it for
yeah,
a lot
the
of
pilots-
years.
Pilots are great. I mean, there's a lot of good people out there. But the pilots who really want to help. And they just finished building a model airplane that they let the kids help them do. Then they took it down to Cottage Grove and they actually flew the thing. Nobody got hurt, I guess. I saw the parts and I thought, there's no way I'd get that thing. But anyway, it got off the ground and it flew, and I thought it was fantastic. They're trying to figure out, the last meeting we had, we're trying to figure out something else to get kids involved in, to get a hands-on experience with it, so.
So what number do you think that's going to be?
Pardon?
What number of kids do you think that's going to involve?
You know, I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are, but I know that they're gonna have the 4th of July, and we're gonna have free flights for all the kids that are interested, and that'll kind of give us an idea. I think last year it flew 50 kids. And they just, you know, fly them around a little bit. We took, the secretary that's always been here, that's not in here now.
Julie?
Julie, yeah, we took her daughter, had one of the pilots take her daughter, because she's getting into a really cool flight program. They flew over home and flew all over the place. She just loved it.
That's cool.
We're gonna do it again as soon as the weather is warm and not real hard winds, take her up again. But she's from Alaska. If she goes, there's a school in Portland, it's a 4-year school, and Alaskan Airlines will pay for all of her schooling.
Oh my gosh.
If she'll sign on to fly for Alaska Airlines in Alaska for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just an unbelievable opportunity.
You don't get the whole way.
It's a good career. Very good career.
But anyway,
Okay.
Mr. Johnson, talking.
Well, we're in the home stretch. It's not tense or anything. But we are wrapping up state assessments, and our scores are looking much better than last year. Enrollment looks to be up in our kinder grades. And typically at this time of the year, we don't see big numbers in kinder enrollment, but we are now. And bigger numbers than we usually see, probably 15 to 21. Doesn't mean that we've grown that much, but that's a higher number than we usually see at this time of year. And we haven't had any transfers come in yet. We usually get 10, 12 transfers a year at the kinder level. So that's looking good. We're going into our budget adoption process over the next few weeks. We'll get that done. We are in bargaining with our classified association, and hopefully that doesn't go on too long. We'd like to wrap that up this spring, and we're completing some projects and bond projects in our third summer of construction on our buildings, to renovate our buildings and prepare for 20 years into the future. And so we're wrapping up some bond projects, but we're in hyper mode planning for construction going into next year and into the next summer. So lots going on there.
So Mike, for your testing, we have a lot of opt-outs. Do you have a lot of opt-outs?
Not K-8.
Okay.
And,
High school level though.
Well, we did, but we have an incentive program going at the high school, and they're up over 70% participation rate now. And they've been right around 50%.
Oh, yeah. So what are you offering?
Money? We have, it's interesting, you know, you would think high school kids don't really go for the reward system, but we have a reward system going on in there, and they're eating it up, so to speak.
You really giving them money?
No.
Oh, well, so what's the reward?
Well, they're getting some time to work on some things,
Okay.
you know, some free time of their own to work on some projects around the school to complete stuff. the end of the year. We do have some, coupons with our local businesses, restaurants
Okay.
that they can earn too, for getting those out there to them. And then some, breakfast, coupons. I mean, there's a variety of rewards that are going out, but, 20% increase is. and maybe-
That changes
maybe
your
more by
outcome.
now.
That changes your outcome. 'Cause we discovered that those that opt out are usually the active kids, the scholar kids. Why should I do this for 3 or 4 hours? Because I'm not gonna get anything from it. So you're offering them something, so for them to do it. So that's great. Great. Robin.
So, let's see, our superintendent, board chair, and myself went up to Salem for OSB's Legislative Action Day. Got to meet with several representatives and Senator May. We had just found out that they were going to sign the summer learning bill, and then we sent a delegation up for the signing, the special signing. And the exciting thing about that is, of course, that it's 2 years of funding. So not only what you're gonna get this year already, we know what we're having next year as well. So, or it's 1 month, but you have 2 years of the money stuff. So we're already planning our whole list of people of who we're gonna be inviting to our summer learning program this year, which we're really excited about since we had huge success with our program last year. We have our board meeting next week. We have 2 board meetings next week because we're doing our budget next week. But we're also having a retirement celebration for Paul Jorgensen, our most senior board member. I forgot the math again, but it's like 30+ years. So last time I checked, it was in the early young 30s for him serving. So yes, he's finally going to retire from board service this year. And then on the 22nd, we're going to have a Clear Lake celebration for the last year of it as an elementary school. So that will be nice. Hopefully we'll have a lot of people come. We have some teachers who have spent 30 years teaching in that one building.
Oh, wow.
So it's real emotional for quite a few people. So,
Yeah.
so hopefully that will be a good time and a great way to remember all the memories there. We have people who went there and then sent their kids there and stuff. So, it's kind of sad that we're closing it down, but. And then we've also reconvened our long range facilities planning committee. So once again, we're looking at facility use and declining student enrollment. So that is an ongoing process of that.
Yeah, since I've been on the Cottage Grove board, we closed 3 schools.
Yeah.
Consolidated. It is sad. It's sad for the area, the community around it.
Right.
What's going on in Eugene, Erica?
Yeah, declining enrollment continues to be an issue for us as well. Our budget committee process wrapped up last evening. Tomorrow, we'll hear a public hearing about the budget, and then hopefully in 2 weeks, voting on an adoption. We're very excited. We've hired our new permanent superintendent, Dr. Miriam Mickelson. She'll be here next week meeting with board members and executive team folks, and then she will be taking the reins and working with Colt in the transition process as of July 1st. So we're incredibly lucky and we are so excited. And she definitely has the full support of the board and the executive team. And I think she really is going to be a transitional leader. But it's definitely the 7 of us feel the weight of how important it's going to be to make sure that we help her be successful. That's going to be pretty important. I'm trying to think what else, I'm hearing about the pilot. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want that CTE program. But I'm really excited this year we have the Empower Ed program, which Jennifer Skurlock started, which is like a CTE program for teachers. And this is the first year they're doing it. The students had given us a presentation a couple months ago, but I hear it's wildly successful and I'm very excited about this. It's a different version of sort of grow your own, but like literally, having students in our district that want to do this and then putting them in the CTE program. So I'm pretty excited. It's one of just like our newest, coolest successes.
Yeah. My grandson graduated from South last year. You go to the health center. I graduated from Pro, 22 kids, so the health center was kind of And when they started, they went to Edison, and Edison's such a sweet little school. And I was so scared for them because they're not real academic or sports, but they have done so well in South Eugene. And Tony told me they would, and they did, because it's a big school, but it works out, doesn't it?
So I have to tell you, so I work at Riverbend Hospital, and all of a sudden one day there was just sort of this horde of children in the hallway above my unit, and I was like, where are these kids from? And they were from Edison Elementary, and so the whole school for like a month or two makes handmade cards and brings them to the hospital to like patients and their families and staff. And like I had a patient, she was developmentally disabled and she was aging. She just started crying. She said it had been decades since somebody gave her a handmade card. And I was like, wow, shout out Edison Elementary. And apparently they've been doing this for a long time. It was not a new thing. So anyways, that was a cool thing from Edison. I really love that.
So, really, I don't know if Dan is on. Dan, Brandon? I'm sorry. Is Dan there?
Yes. I am here. Hi.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry for the
Hi.
introductions earlier. That's my fault.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
How's Mackenzie?
Mackenzie is busy. Let's see. We are also starting our budget process. Where's my notes here? We're also doing certified bargaining. It's my first time on this committee, so it's a lot to learn. It's an interesting process. Seems to go really well so far. We came together with not a lot of differences to begin with, so hopefully we'll wrap that up shortly. We've got 3 board positions on the ballot this month, and 3 incumbents are running uncontested, and the 4th seat remains vacant. So there's not a lot of involvement in our little community out here. We are still kind of doing the slow recovery from the fire. Our PTO restarted again finally this spring. So again, we're trying to work for more involvement. Lots of students participating in sports. We've got a golf team for the first time with 14 high school students, which is a lot out of a high school total of 55. And we hosted a high school track meet with over 20 teams at the end of April. So that was big and exciting. I was happy to hear Corey Culp recognized with the STEM group at the beginning. We are very proud of our science teachers. Our other science teacher took a couple students to present their research that they'd done on the river to Dr. Jane Goodall in Portland. And we had a bunch of students winning a national stock market game contest. So we are small, but we are mighty.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sure.
We have a lot of board member activities and opportunities listed here. And then we have the component district board meetings here.
Something that's not on here, but was mentioned in the board briefing is the May 22nd Youth Summit at 9 a.m.
Oh, that's right,
here.
Thank you. Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in my report. So yeah, there's a youth summit here. If you may have gone last year, the View Pavilion. And so we'll have quite a big contingent of high school students in our hallways. It's May 22nd, Thursday. But I do want to emphasize it's a youth summit. So it's youth voice. And so if board members want to come and attend and observe or view, that's fine. But we're not really inviting adults to come speak. I'm like I said in my board briefing, I'll try to put my ears up and listen.
If a staff member involved with the agenda might like recommend a time that might be good to listen, like, I know sometimes they kind of, when I went to, there was like a time where they did presentations, or report outs or whatever. I mean, I would love to come and listen to that if there's appropriate for me to come.
I will ask Shereen to bring that up.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
We appreciate our advisors and Mike, so thank you tonight. And is there any other business? Thank you. Let's show daylight after.
Can I just say,